We're going to make a foldable about mean, median, mode, and range. First, we'll be given the situation. 3 litters of Yorkie puppies were recently weighed by the veterinarian. The weights in ounces of the puppies were 6 5/10, 6 4/10, 5 5/10, 6, 6, and 6, and then 5 4/10 and 6 5/10 ounces. Your job is to find the mean, median, mode, and range of the puppies' weights. Set up the foldable like the one pictured in the right above to begin this lesson. As you're filling out your foldable, you should have your mean, median, mode, and range. As you open each one up, on the left-hand side, you will have the definition of each that will be shown in each slide. On the right-hand side, you're going to have the directions or examples of how to find each. And you're going to do this for mean, median, mode, and range. First, we'll go with the top flap of your foldable. That's the mean. On your definition side, which is the left-hand side of your flap, then you're going to write this. The mean is the average of a set of numbers. To find the mean, add all of the numbers in a data set and divide by how many numbers there were. So we're going to look at how we do this. First, we add up all of the numbers in our data set. So if we went back to our first slide, we had 6.5, 6.4, 5.5, 6.0, 6.0, 6.0, 5.4, and 6.5. When we add all of those numbers together, we get the sum of 48 3/10. But we're not finished. Next, step 2 is divide by how many numbers you added. So I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers together. That means I have to divide by 8. So I take my total, and that is my dividend, and I divide by 8. 8 goes into 48 6 times. 6 times 8 is 48. 48 minus 48 is 0, and we bring down the 3. 8 can go into 3 0 times. 8 times 0 is 0. 3 minus 0 is 3, and we bring down our 0. 8 can go into 30 3 times. 8 times 3 is 24, and 30 minus 24 is 6. We're going to stop since we get to the 100th place and then just round to the 10th place. So that gives us the average weight of being 6 0/10 ounces. The next flap down is the median. And on the left-hand side, just behind the word, you're going to write the definition. And the definition of the median is the center or middle of the data set when the numbers are ordered from least to greatest. And that's the most important part. So when you go to write your steps, you must list, the first step is to list all numbers in the data set from least to greatest. Because if you don't list your numbers in order from least to greatest, you will have your median incorrect. So we're going to list our orders of those puppy weights from least to greatest. So we have our 5.4, 5.5, 6.0. We have that 3 times. 6.4, 6.5, and 6.5. Your next step of finding the median is to cross out each value from the outside in until you reach the center. So how you would do this, once you have them listed, you would cross out your 5.4 and your 6.5 and do it 2 at a time so that you're making sure you go 1 and 1 from the outside to inside. Then you're going to go 5.5, 6.5, 6.0, 6.4. And typically you should get to one middle, but in this case we have 2 middles. There's no one middle. And if you do your numbers correctly, you will have the same number on the left and the right side of numbers crossed out. So I have 3 numbers crossed out on the left side, 3 numbers crossed out on the right side. So that means that I have 2 middles. And here's what you do. If you end up having 2 values in the center, add them up and divide by 2. So you can have 6.0 and 6.0. Add them up and you get 12, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. That means our median of our data set is 6. And there is a rhyme that goes for this. Whenever you have two centers, if you have two middles and you don't know what to do, add them up and divide by 2. Next, we have our mode in our data set, and the mode is probably one of the most simplest ones that we'll have to do. The mode is the number in the data set that occurs most often. So once we list all of our data points in order from least to greatest, we circle the number that appears more than once. Now in this case we have 6 and 5/10 2 times, but since we have the 6 and 0/10 that appears 3 times, that's our mode. So you can have them that appear, you can have numbers that appear more than once, but you have to find the number that appears most often, and that will be your mode. And something important to remember, if there isn't a repeating number, there is no mode. So if a question asks you for a mode but you don't see one, never put 0, write the words no mode. Finally, we're going to do the range. We're going to find the range of our data set. Now, the range is the difference between the highest and lowest data points. To find the range, subtract the lowest value from the highest value. So first, what I would always recommend doing is list all your data points in order from least to greatest. And this makes it easy to see which is the smallest number and which is the greatest number, because you have to have that greatest and smallest in order to get the correct range. Secondly, you're going to subtract the lowest value from the greatest value. So your greatest value, since it's larger, obviously goes on top. Your smallest value goes on the bottom. You go ahead and do your subtraction, and your range is 1.1. So if we were asking the question about those Yorkie weights, we would say, what is the range of the weights of the Yorkies in those puppy litters? And you could say the range is 1 1/10 ounces. So when you're done with your foldable, you should have it looking like this. All of your definitions are on the left-hand side, and all of your math and your examples are on the right-hand side. We will definitely be using these in class to help us solve problems involving real-life situations on the mean, median, mode, and range. So make sure you are prepared so that we can do the activities in class that we need to complete.